of the best home field advantages going in the NFL, and Julius Jones and the Seahawks could use it to get back on track today. The Green Bay Packers and the Seattle Seahawks today on Fox. Hi, everyone, and welcome alongside J.C. Pearson. I'm Chris Rose, and J.C., the huge news up here in Seattle. They're going to be without their three-time Pro Bowl quarterback, Matt Hasselbeck, out with a bone bruise in his right knee. That means they turn it on over to Charlie Frye, who has never taken a regular season snap with the Seahawks.
Well, a little bit of background on Charlie Frye for those that are unfamiliar with him and not as familiar with him as you are, Chris. He hasn't played in a regular season game since week 1 of 07, and that was with the Cleveland Browns. He was traded here to Seattle the next week and has been the third quarterback until today. He admitted to us that he was going to be nervous today, but thought that he was prepared, ready to go. But for the Seahawks, you have to think their game plan now: run the football as much as possible and take the pressure off of Charlie Frye.
Well, the Seahawks don't get any quarterbacking injury sympathies from the Green Bay Packers. Their own Aaron Rodgers still bothered by that strained right shoulder. However, he's going to give it a go. We asked him, when does it hurt? He said, only when I throw the football. Somewhat of an occupational hazard, I guess.
Well, he gained a lot of respect from his coaches and his teammates for that gutsy effort last week. He told us that shoulder is still very painful and very sore. He didn't practice at all this week, just a lot of treatment, a lot of rehab to try to get some strength back in that shoulder. As for the pain, he said he knows it's going to be there all game long. It's just something that he has to gut out like he did last week. He's a tough kid.
So Rodgers' shoulder might not be the only thing that bothers him at the end of today. This has become tradition here at Quest Field, the raising of the 12th man flag, and one of their favorite sons, the 9-time NBA All-Star, former Sonics point guard, GP Gary Payton, with the honors. Mason Crosby to kick things off. And the flub kick taken by T.J. Duckett. He is across 25, up near the 30, and that's where Charlie Frye will get things going. The fourth-year pro, former third-round pick of the Cleveland Browns out of the University of Akron. Expect a healthy dose of Julius Jones, but also look for the rookie tight end, John Carlson, out of Notre Dame.
And when you have a young quarterback in, or a guy that hasn't played a lot, Chris, the tight end and the slot receiver, who's Bobby Ingram in this case, those guys become their best friends because they work the middle of the field, and it's a much shorter and quicker throw for the quarterback.
It's Ingram and Corin Robinson back in his second tour of duty with the Seahawks lining up outside, and that is Jones for almost nothing. Green Bay defense all banged up in the first few weeks. In fact, they've got a rookie, a fourth-round pick, Jeremy Thompson, lining up for the injured Cullen Jenkins. All he has to do, JC, is go against one of the best in Walter Jones.
Yeah, that's going to be a big matchup in favor of Seattle today, because Jeremy Thompson, not only is he a young guy, he's only about 260 pounds. Seahawks are a heavy left-running team, and they're going to go right at him. 2nd and 9.
Jones remains in the backfield. Frye with his first pass attempt. And the ball is complete to Robinson for a short gain. Knocked down by Tramon Williams. Williams starting these days for the injured Al Harris.
And the big thing for these Seahawks receivers today is to be able to get off of bump and run coverage. That's what Green Bay likes to line up in all the time, especially on third down. Mike McCarthy said that cuts down on those short throws and short passes when they play at the line of scrimmage.
4 receivers set on 3rd and 5 for Frye, and the ball is incomplete, intended for Ingram. Charles Woodson, tied for the NFL lead with 3 interceptions, was really the closest one to it. So it's 3 and out, not the way Mike Holmgren wanted to see his offense started out.
No question, especially with the struggles they've had on defense. They wanted to come out on offense early, establish the run, which they didn't do in that series, obviously, but and trying to take a lot of pressure off the defense.
It is the former Packer, John Ryan, on the punt to Will Blackman, one of the more dangerous young return men in the NFC. Gets it away, and it is not a good kick. Takes a hop and bounces sideways. And Kevin Hobbs falls on it. Now the question is, did it hit Jarrett Bush? The referees are conferring, and they say no, it did not touch Bush. So Green Bay will get the football at the 24. And you really can't blame Bush on that sort of play. He's got his head turned.
He's doing his job, and that's one of the things when you're blocking down there, the return guy's got to let you know there's a poison call. He's got to be yelling, poison, poison, get away from the ball. Jared Bush didn't do that, and Blackman didn't make the call loud enough. You got to give your guy time. He's down there working hard, trying to make a block for you.
Aaron Rodgers didn't throw a pass in practice all week, but here he will on the first snap. Hits Corey Hall, his fullback, for a short gain, knocked down by Deion Grant. So Rodgers, we expect Ryan Grant to tote the rock an awful lot. Had 201 yards in that playoff win over the Seahawks last season.
Yeah, the big problem for the Packers today, though, is their number 2 back, Brandon Jackson, inactive today because he was sick. So now Deshaun Wynn, who they just activated this week, is now their number 2 running back, but they've got to find somebody to give Ryan Grant a blow.
Well, speaking of Grant, this is the Grant on the other side of the ball. Deion Grant, who is grabbing his left knee. They can ill afford any injuries in the secondary. Josh Wilson is the guy that's starting for Kelly Jennings, and now the last line of defense down on the turf.
Yeah, no question. That's a big blow for Seattle, because remember when we talked to Mike Holmgren, there were only 3 players that he said was playing good defensively, and Deion Grant was one of them.
So we will take a quick break and check on Deion Grant. Game scoreless. I love it. Cletus has a bat in his hand, getting ready for Game 3 of the NLCS tonight on Fox, and that is Deion Grant, one of the guys that Mike Holmgren singled out as playing well on his defense on the sideline, replaced by Jordan Babineau. That is Donald Lee in motion for the Packers on second and short. Grant has the first down and up near the 40-yard line, and let's take one more look at what happened to Deion Grant.
Yeah, he takes the full blow of this shot, and watch his left knee and ankle, and then the right ankle. It just looked like, it's hard to tell exactly what he hurt, but it could be either one of those. You see all the momentum and force just comes right down on him, not only the fullback, but Lofatutupu as well.
And that's Corey Hall, a guy who played linebacker in college at Boise State, who's coming back from 3 games off because of a knee injury. 1st and 10 for Aaron Rodgers and the Pack. Grant again cutting back, and he's got a big lane. He's into Seahawks territory and dragged down by Marcus Trufant and Brian Russell. And very quickly, let's check in with Kurt Menefee for the first time today for Game Break.
Well, Chris, I don't know how quick this will be because it takes a while. Although not that long, opening kickoff of the game, Arizona's J.J. Arrington takes it back against the Cowboys. 93 yards for the score. Just like that, Cardinals take the quick lead 7-0. Back to Seattle and Chris, JC, and Michelle.
Thank you very much, Kurt, for the rapid game break. So the Cardinals with the early lead here, and the Packers driving after a 17-yard gain by Ryan Grant. Rodgers incomplete there, intended for Donald Driver. Take a look at that Seattle defense, which was shredded for 44 points and 523 yards last week.
Well, they've got to do much better against the run. They got killed last week, but really in the back end is where they struggled, so they made an adjustment. Kelly Jennings is not starting today. Josh Wilson starting at cornerback number 26. Mike Holmgren said he needed to shake some things up back there.
As you can see, Deion Grant did start, but was injured on the first play from scrimmage for the Packers, so it's Babineau still in. Grant with a few yards and inches his way up toward the 40. And right now, let's check in with the 3rd member of our crew, Nichelle Turner, down on the field. Nichelle.
Hey, guys, I have an update for you on Deion Grant. Officially, he is a questionable return with a left knee sprain, but I can tell you he is up and trying to test that knee out to see if he can get back in the game. Back to you.
Thank you, Nichelle. And this is a guy that they will sorely miss.
It doesn't look good, too. You can't put very much weight on that knee. It's not a good sign.
3rd and 5 as Kelly Jennings is now checked in the game defensively for the Seahawks. And it's Grant again trying to bounce outside. He gets dragged down by Brian Russell. Leroy Hill over there as well. Julian Peterson helping out.
Yeah, that was the guy that really made this play, Chris, was Julian Peterson working on Chad Clifton. Watch Peterson there. Watch him push up the field, strong at the point of attack, and maintain that outside leverage. That forced Grant to have to bounce backwards and allowed Russell, Leroy Hill, and the rest of the Seahawks to get to him.
And that'll bring on the punter, Derek Frost. It's been an adventure for him lately. And actually, now they have changed. Mason Crosby, the kicker, is going to give it a shot from 60 yards away. And a timeout now called by Mike McCarthy and the Packers. In case you're wondering, his long is 53 yards in his career.
Yeah, that's a big gamble right there by Mike McCarthy. If he misses it, the Seahawks get the ball at midfield.
And with a guy like Charlie Frye as the third quarterback that's making his first start since week 1 of 07, wouldn't you want to pin him back as far as possible?
No question. Field position, and that was something that Mike Holmgren talked about in our meetings, is that they've had bad field position really this whole season, and that's really hindered that offense. So now with Charlie Frye back there too, you would think Mike McCarthy would want them playing on the long field.
Yeah, and after thinking about it a little bit, here comes Derek Frost, who's also the holder, but this time he is going to punt the ball. And as I said, as Charlie Frye is looking on, it's been a tumultuous last few weeks for Frost. They brought in some punters during the early part of the week to challenge him. Haven't found anybody they've fallen in love with, so it is still Frost's job, at least for the time being. Michael Bumpus, the rookie out of Washington State, standing at his own 10. Calling for the fair catch and taking it at the 9-yard line. And that is where Charlie Frye will start his second drive as Deion Grant heads to the locker room. Welcome back to Seattle. It was 3 and out for Charlie Frye in his first snaps as a Seattle Seahawk during the regular season. Now, you know, Mike Holmgren's got that complex West Coast offense and a guy who understands it so well in Matt Hasselbeck. You know, how much is it going to change with Frye?
Well, you think it's got to change some because they've got to run the ball. That's what they wanted to do anyway, and now you really have your number 3 quarterback in who hasn't taken a regular season snap for you before today. You would think they'd have to pare it down quite a bit.
Now Frye and the Seahawks pinned back at their own 10 to start their second drive. 3 receivers set. The ball is a handoff to Jones, who muscles his way up to about the 14. Aaron Rouse starting for the injured Atari Bigby, making the stop.
You mentioned the Seahawks were in that 3 wide receiver set. When they're in 3 wide receivers and 2 running backs, the Packers are thinking run. That's really a formation where they try to spread the Packers out, hopefully get them in a nickel situation on that 3rd wide receiver, but they still have 2 running backs in, and they like to run the ball in that situation.
And the Packers have had big time trouble stopping the run, ranking 27th in the league, giving up over 160 yards per game. But this time they are all over it. As Leonard Weaver gets the ball, stopped by the rookie Jeremy Thompson makes the play.
But they had the safety Aaron Rouse at the line of scrimmage. Watch Aaron Rouse, number 37, right there, just jumps up the field right now, and that messes up the blocking assignments. You see Wall has to just basically dive out to try to get him, so it's not a tackle for loss, and then there's nobody else to tackle the rest of the Packers. I mean, to block the rest of the Packers.
And now it's what Mike Holmgren wanted to avoid, another 3rd and long for Seattle. 4 receivers. As Frye now hands off again to Weaver, and he's going to be stopped shy of the first down. Colin Cole wraps him up along with Aaron Rouse.
And that's not a situation that they want to be in, especially with Charlie Frye. But even when Matt Hasselbeck was in there, they weren't good on 3rd down. Last week against the Giants, only 1 of 11 all game long. So that's not a situation that they've been able to be successful in all year.
Back-to-back 3 and outs for the Seahawks, and Ryan on for his second punt of the afternoon. Blackman back at his own 45. Gets away a good one. Blackman retreating all the way to his 24. He's got a little room on the cutback. And he is dragged down at the 45, brought down by C.J. Wallace. And Aaron Rodgers will start his second drive right there. Chris Rose, J.C. Pearson, Nichelle Turner back with you in Seattle. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers starting their second drive at their own 46. They did make it into Seahawk territory on their first drive, but then had to punt. That is Grant in the backfield. Corey Humphrey in motion. And a quick hitter to Donald Driver. Stopped quickly at midfield.
Aaron Rodgers throwing in pregame. Still a lot of pain. He didn't come out early and warm up, but watch him when he throws the ball. Look at the pain. You see him wincing in pain there. He's wearing that shoulder harness. You have to adjust that a little bit. Then he goes back and throws a little more. After every throw, you can see him wince. And like you said in the open, Chris, he told us the only time it really bothers him is when he throws the ball. That's part of being a quarterback, right?
I guess so. They're not playing checkers or chess out there today. So 2nd and 6. 3 receivers set as Jordy Nelson has checked into the game for the Packers, and Rodgers goes his way. And the 2nd-round pick out of Kansas State gets the first down. This is a guy that caught 122 passes his final season at K-State.
He's a bigger guy that can run. I mean, he's deceptively fast, but they threw the ball that time at Marcus Trufant. We talked to Aaron Rodgers and said, hey, you know, they've got a backup in Josh Wilson on the other side. Are you going to stay away from the all-pro Marcus Trufant? He said, hey, our system, we're going to throw at everybody. We're going to try everybody, and they come out early and go at Trufant.
Deion Grant has checked back into the game after being injured on the Packers' first play. This is Grant cutting it back. Gain of about 5. Julian Peterson, Leroy Hill in on the stop. So good to see Grant back on the field. One of the leaders of that defense, and Mike Holmgren told us in our meeting, Deion Grant has played well, Marcus Trufant has played well, Leroy Hill has played well, and then he stopped talking.
Everybody else has been put on notice that they've got to pick their play up. The big key today is those guys inside. Those defensive tackles have got to be strong inside.
A bunched set of receivers to the left on 2nd and 6. Rodgers out of the gun. Finds Donald Driver. And he stretches forward to the 30, enough for the first down. Dragging along Trufant right around his heels.
You see Donald Driver fighting for those extra yards. They pride themselves on YAC, yards after the catch. They're the best team in the league at it. As a wide receiver core, Greg Jennings told us that they don't go down. They catch the ball and they stay on each other to try to gain extra yards. They fight to block for each other. And that's one thing about this receiving core.
Grant, who already has 30 yards, lined up in the eye on 1st and 10. And there is movement all over the place. Jeff Triplett, our referee.
False start. Number 72 of the offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
That is the left guard Jason Spitz. And of course, this is the place. If you're going to have a false start as a visitor, don't worry, you have plenty of company. Yes, 74 false starts since the beginning of the 05 season.
Those guys keep track. They're here every week. They keep track. They're proud of that. This whole city and stadium is proud of the fact that they're so noisy and loud.
3 receivers now on 1st and 15. Rodgers looking and hits Nelson. The rookie gets it close to the first down. He's about a yard shy, and once again they're picking on the Pro Bowler Trufant.
Yeah, they told us that they weren't going to shy away from him. They like all of their receivers. They like all of their matchups. You can see how much room Trufant is giving Nelson out here. Now he's just going to push him up the field and come back. That comeback round, the ball's right on time. Trufant's got to be a little more aggressive there. You can see not a little wince, just some intensity there. You see that look in his eyes right there.
And feeling just fine. He is 4 for 4 on this drive. 2nd and short. And Rodgers has got to use a timeout as the play clock was coming into effect. So Mike McCarthy not too pleased with that, but his team's on the move.
Well, I talked about how soft Marcus Trufant was playing on the outside. Look at that left wrist. He's got a cast on that wrist, so it's hard for him to get up and bump and run coverage. He can't use that wrist and hand. He can only use his right hand to punch, so that's why he's bailing out of there and giving up too much room to those receivers.
That is the tight end Donald Lee in motion on 2nd and short. Grant off the right side, and it looks as though he's close to the first down. Craig Terrell in on the tackle.
You know, Trufant is not the only guy on this defense playing with the cast on his hand. Lofa Tutupu has got a cast. He broke his thumb. He had surgery a couple weeks ago and had a screw put in. And also Patrick Herney. You see him right there, cast on his right wrist. So these guys are being beat up out there. And it's tough to really grab and tackle and use those.
All three of those guys Pro Bowlers. Maybe they got a discount in Hawaii last year on the casts. 3rd and inches. Grant at the back end of the I formation, and that is Rodgers, bad shoulder and all, getting in there and getting some push. What do you think of that call with a guy with a sprained shoulder?
I wouldn't do it. I would not make that call and have Aaron Rodgers even take the risk of taking a shot in there that's going to aggravate that shoulder. You got Ryan Grant, just turn around, hand it off to him. Corey Hall, you got big guys back there. You can't afford to get Aaron Rodgers hurt because the guys behind him don't have any experience.
I mean, the Seahawks are starting their 3rd quarterback, but this is a guy that had 19 starts under his belt. A pair of rookies behind Aaron Rodgers. 1st and 10 for Green Bay, and Rodgers again looking plenty of time, looking for Greg Jennings for the first time today, covered closely by the 2nd-year man out of Maryland, Josh Wilson.
Good protection, though, by that offensive line. And that's been a problem for the Seahawks. They haven't been able to get a lot of pressure on quarterbacks. They've got 11 sacks coming into this game, but 8 of those sacks came in one game. We've been having trouble. You see Patrick Herney is the guy, they chip on him, and no one else can get to the quarterback. So Kearney's been having it rough. They haven't had a sack in the last 2.5 games.
And Tauscher did a great job against Kearney last year in the playoffs, held him without a tackle or a sack in the 42-20 win. 9th play of the drive, Rodgers trying to hit Driver across the middle. That'll bring up 3rd and 10.
Tauscher does a good job on Patrick Kearney. You see him right here. Sometimes they punch and be aggressive. Other times they go at the legs. And that's all they want because that ball is supposed to come out quickly. So if you can just stop his momentum right now, the ball should be gone. If the quarterback holds it, it's on him.
And now that 12th man getting into it as the Packers have 3rd and 10 with a 4-receiver set. Rodgers hits Nelson, and he's going to be about a yard shy of the 1st down. That is the 3rd catch for Nelson, the rookie out of Kansas State, dragged down by Kelly Jennings.
What the Seahawks do that time, they said we can't get to the quarterback anyway, so they only rush 3 guys. They drop 8 in coverage. Try to keep that ball in front of them and make the tackle.
And now Mason Crosby going to line it up from 30 yards out. Last year became the first rookie to lead the NFL in scoring since Kevin Butler in 1985. And now he is leading this game in scoring. Packers drive results in a field goal. Green Bay up 3-zip.
Well, there's Matt Hasselbeck just chilling on the sideline. He got the padded bench, and let me stretch my knee out a little bit.
I always thought that Mom said don't put your feet up on the furniture. I guess it's okay if you have 3 Pro Bowls under your belt.
Yeah, he's just chilling over there and talking a little bit, enjoying it.
They actually thought he was going to be ready this week. But,
yeah, and he thought he was too.
Right, didn't practice at all, so now Charlie Fry getting the start. After the 11-play, 43-yard drive, ending in a Mason Crosby field goal. The 2nd-year man kicking it off deep to Josh Wilson. Bouncing high and running over the kicker. And getting up near the 35. And that gets the crowd into it. And Charlie Fry will start his 3rd drive from there. The last meeting between the Packers and the Seahawks up at Lambeau, NFC Divisional Playoff game. Seattle jumped out to a 14-0 lead, but Ryan Grant 201 yards rushing and slushing through the snow. Favre and company, the 42-20 win as they would advance to the NFC Championship game. In fact, the last 2 games in this series played in the snow. I don't think Ryan Grant's going to need the shovel and the snowshoes today.
No, not today, but he hopes to repeat that performance. Of course, they think that they had their best running game last week. He ran for 83 yards, his best so far, so they think their running game is really starting to come along, and they need it today.
Well, little has gone right for the Seahawks offense. A pair of 3 and outs so far. Gained just 10 yards in 6 plays. That is Julius Jones in motion. Charlie Fry. And Fry getting brought down. Charles Woodson, Colin Cole. A meeting of the minds. And right now, let's check in with the smartest guy I know. That would be Kurt Menefee with a game break.
You apparently don't know too many people, Chris. Here's Corral Buckhalter giving the Eagles the lead against San Francisco. Dives in from a yard out. They're up by a point in the first quarter. Back to Chris, JC, and Nichelle, who are all
questionable.
Yeah.
Questionable. But you heard Jimmy Johnson talking during the pregame show about the 4 keys for the Eagles to get back on track, and winning in San Francisco would be one of them today. Fry looking deep for Corn Robinson, who gets up and grabs it. Robinson in his second tour of duty with Seattle. He was signed in the middle of September, but immediately got hurt, just like the rest of the Seahawks receivers.
Yeah, but this is what he can bring to him. He still has a lot of athletic ability. A good throw by Charlie Fry. Look, right over the top. Tramon Williams tries to come under. Corn Robinson is able to stretch out and make that play. He's a guy that can still run and stretch the field.
19-yard gain, and this is Julius Jones off the right side, dragged down by Aaron Campman. Robinson, a guy who was drafted 9th overall by the Seahawks back in 2001, and they thought he was going to be a real impact player. Caught 78 balls his second season. They were like, boy, you know what? We've got a guy that can stretch the field.
Had some personal issues off the field, of course. This game today, this is his first game back. He was with the Packers a couple years ago. And he knows how these guys play. So he can get off the jams.
Jones sidesteps a tackler and has a first down as he gets dragged down by Nick Collins. It's a little bit more of what Mike Holmgren had in mind for this offense.
They wanted to come out, establish the run. Green Bay coming into this game was giving up 161 yards a game rushing. That was just too much. Nick Barnett told us enough is enough. They're embarrassed. They felt like they were going to come out and be physical.
And it's Jones yet again up the middle for a few tough yards. Brady Papinga in on the stop. And that's going to be the first 15 minutes of action in Seattle. A Mason Crosby field goal has the Packers up 3-0. Start of the second quarter in Seattle. Charlie Fry hasn't thrown it a whole lot. In fact, he's really only looked for one guy, Corn Robinson, so far. And Julius Jones starting to get it into gear on the ground. 2nd and 6. And a quick pitch out to Jones. Nick Collins trying to chase him down, but not before Jones ends up getting the first down. Once again, J.C. Pearson and Chris Rose, and this is what we fully expect right now. A lot of Julius Jones. Could get 20 to 25 carries today.
Oh, easy. And Mo Morris is back and healthy, active today for the first time. They're going to run the ball. They've got to take a lot of pressure off of Charlie Fry, get him slowly acclimated and into this offense. But we're going to see a run offense today against a defense that has struggled all year to stop the run.
Yeah, it's not exactly ground chuck like the old days of Chuck Knox here in Seattle, but more ground game, and that's why. Aaron Campman just smushing Charlie Fry, the 2nd sack of the day for the Packers, who had gone their previous 10 quarters without dropping the QB.
Yeah, just a speed rush on Locklear, number 75. Watch Campman. Good job of engaging him and then knocking his hands down right there, using that speed to get to Charlie Fry.
Campman's 5th sack of the 08 season. Now that'll bring up 2nd and long.
And I don't know how you don't chick and double Aaron Campman. No one else on this defensive line can get to the quarterback. At least they haven't shown that they can.
Jones again cutting back, but Aaron Rouse with a nice read and even a better tackle. Little assist from Hawk and Campman as well. So once again, 3rd and long for the Seahawks. Not the situation that Fry wanted. Now, Mike Holmgren does like a few things about Charlie Frye. He loves his leadership. He says the guys rally around him. They're going to play for him. But he said he did have some problems throwing the ball in Cleveland. He saw that on tape, and that's what he's worked on.
Right, and he's got some ability. No question about it. In this situation, I think he's got to look for a guy like Bobby Ingram in the slot.
That's Leonard Weaver, the fullback in motion. Frye out of the pocket, and Ingram cannot come down with the ball. Would have had some distance to make up anyway to get the first down.
Yeah, but that's just a timing issue, and a guy that hasn't played a lot, he throws that ball way too quickly and way too hard. You see that Ingram is open. Take your time, go through your throwing motion, and get him the football. He's wide open right here. Charles Woodson slips down. Like you said, may not have gotten the first down anyway, but you still got to complete the pass.
And so now that brings on Olindo Mare from 50 yards out. Mare's kick has plenty of leg, and it is good. He is now 10 for 10 on field goals, and that one ties it at 3.
And watch this ball that Olindo Mare kicks. Watch how much it curves. Look at him. Plays it outside. It comes back inside. There's a lot of movement on that ball.
And I'm going to guarantee you it's going to travel faster than any pitch Jamie Moyer throws tonight in Game 3 of the NLCS. Of course, Moyer, the former Seattle Mariner, going for the Phillies, who are looking for that commanding 3-games-to-none lead over the LA Dodgers. You can see that following the OT presented by Lowe's right here on Fox. Mare kicking it off deep, taken by Will Blackman at the goal line. And Blackman swallowed up there by David Hawthorne and a host of others. And the big boy getting it done for Charlie Frye so far. Crosby and Mare with a pair of field goals. It is 3-3 early in the second quarter in Seattle. Chris Rose, J.C. Pearson, Michelle Turner here with you on Fox. How's Aaron Rodgers' shoulder strength looking to you so far, J.C.?
Well, he hasn't thrown the ball down the field really at all so far. You got to think that Greg Jennings has to come into play soon.
Well, this is Ryan Grant. Craig Terrell making the stop after a yard gain. Jennings, the league's leading receiver in terms of yards coming in, and he is a big play waiting to happen.
He is, and you've got to get him the ball, whether you throw it down the field to him or just get it to him on those quick slants. He's so strong. He breaks a lot of tackles. Also leads the league receiver-wise in yards after the catch. You got to throw it to him.
You mentioned to him yesterday in the meeting he was going to have a huge stats day against the secondary. He kind of laughed. Right now, goose eggs on the board next to Jennings' name. And this is Grant trying to bust outside, gets up near the 35, pinned out of bounds by Lawrence Jackson, also Josh Wilson over there as well. We'll bring up 3rd and short for the Pack.
You know, Mike McCarthy told us that really the strength of this team is the guys outside, the wide receivers, top to bottom. They may have the best wide receiving core in the league. He wants to spread teams out, use different personnel groups, and then try to get the ball to them guys outside.
3rd and 3 as Deshaun Wynn has checked into the game for the Packers. With Brandon Jackson ailing Wynn, now the backup of Ryan Grant. Rodgers looking, gets dropped by Peterson. The ball is loose, and the Seahawks have recovered the football.
And that's on Aaron Rodgers. He holds this ball way too long, too much indecision by him. He's got Jordy Nelson crossing. He doesn't throw it to him. Deshaun Wynn leaks out. It is wide open. He's got to be more decisive. That allows Julian Peterson time to come back under. And he takes a shot also on that shoulder going down. But you see him looking. You got to get rid of that ball. That sack has to be attributed to Aaron Rodgers.
Big Rocky Bernard falls on the pigskin. It is just the 4th turnover created by Seattle this season. Maurice Morris in the backfield, and he will get the rock and go virtually nowhere. Morris, a guy who started the season as the starter in the backfield, injured his knee in the Buffalo game and then missed the next few.
surprised they're not running more left behind Walter Jones and Mike Wall. They're a heavy left side running team anyway. But with those two guys, Pro Bowlers over there, they're playing against a young guy in Jeremy Thompson, starting for the first time, a rookie that's undersized. You would think they'd run right at him.
3 receiver set as Kerry Colbert is checked in, but this is Morris off the left side, up near the first down as he bounced off a would-be tackler in Nick Collins. Good strong effort from Morris that time.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Take it to the left side behind Walter Jones. Watch these guys up here do a good job of sealing the edge. Look at him slide back. Now he just cuts Thompson off, and now Maurice Morris is fast enough to get the edge, get to the corner, and get down the field.
There is the 8-time Pro Bowler, the future Hall of Famer. 3rd and 1. That is the rookie Carlson in motion. T.J. Duckett. And boy, that one's going to be close. It looks like he got stopped shy, J.C.
Penetration. Yeah, they make the tackle, but really Johnny Jolly is the guy that allows those linebackers to stay clean and free. Watch Johnny Jolly. Watch these guys just slant down inside and jump across the line of scrimmage. Good job up the field right there, and now Papinga, everybody else, Williams, now those guys are free. Look at, nobody's in the hole except the linebacker, Papinga. You've got to make that tackle.
4th and 1, and Mike Holmgren's going to go for it. Duckett in the backfield behind Weaver. Duckett again, bouncing outside. He's got some space. T.J. Duckett down to the 5-yard line. Actually, they're going to say he stepped out of bounds back at the 14.
Yeah, but watch that block by the fullback, Leonard Weaver, to get the edge. Aaron Rouse, number 37, the safety's playing close to the line of scrimmage, and Weaver just takes him out of there. Watch Weaver come here on Williams, number 37, or Aaron Rouse, rather. Aaron Rouse is responsible for outside leverage. Leonard Weaver just hammers it. That allows Duckett, again, just to get to the corner.
Seattle in the red zone. Morris, the lone setback, getting it and running it off the left side again. Aaron Campman, Brandon Schiller there after a short gain.
And when this drive started, Chris, after that first run up the middle, I said, why aren't they running left? Well, since then, all their runs have been to the left side. They've hammered that left side, and now they've got a great drive going.
And here's how Mike Holmgren's been divvying it up so far. Has always been a 60-40 pass run sort of guy, but today the obvious choice is to run the ball.
They have to. With the number 3 quarterback in.
Fry looking and finding Morris out of the backfield. Gets it down to about the 7-yard line. A little shy of the first down as Nick Barnett is there to make the stop.
You know, Maurice Morris, like you said, he was the starter coming into the season, went out with an injury. Julius Jones took over, but what Maurice Morris brings to this team is the ability to catch the ball out of the backfield and not just run it. So on those check downs, on those screens, the throwbacks, you always have to be aware when he's in because they'll throw the ball to him.
And Charlie Fry is going to burn a timeout. So Seattle's starting to get into a little bit of a rhythm, and this is obviously something that has been difficult for him, obviously, because he hasn't gotten a lot of reps over the years, even since coming over in that trade from Cleveland.
Yeah, and this really helps to settle him down, calm him down, get those nerves out. Now they've had some success, so now he's got some more confidence to throw the ball.
Well, JC, Fox's football coverage doesn't end when the games are over. Afterward, you'll want to stick around for the OT presented by Lowe's. Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy give you all the analysis, all the highlights, the interviews. It's all coming your way. In fact, we had 4 games today. It came down to the final 15 seconds of play. So you'll keep it right here to the OT presented by Lowe's for all of the amazing highlights. Seattle 0 for 4 on 3rd downs today. Duckett, the lone setback on 3rd and 2. Fry looking, hitting Carlson, and he is into the end zone for the touchdown.
Good play fake. But again, they were running the ball so well to the left side. Now you come back with the play action, fake the run that way, Obviously, Green Bay just sells out trying to stop the run, come back with the boot.
The PAT is good, so Charlie Fry's first TD toss as a Seahawk. John Carlson, his first touchdown as a pro. Seattle has the lead. John Carlson, the rookie out of Notre Dame, with his first NFL touchdown. The Seahawks convert the Aaron Rodgers fumble into 7, and they have the 10-3 lead as Charlie Fry hooks up with Carlson.
Great play fake on that play action, too. But that's what the run game gives you. When you set up the run, the play action always works off of it.
Mare's kick is fielded by Blackman at the 5. And he is dragged down by D.D. Lewis at the 34. Last time Aaron Rodgers touched the ball, he ended up fumbling. And it led to a Seahawks score and a 10-3 lead. For the first time today, the Packers are playing from behind. Last time Green Bay had the ball, Aaron Rodgers sacked and fumbled. Recovered by Seattle, which then went on to score a touchdown. Rodgers back under center, first and 10 from his own 34. Rodgers pressured by Deion Grant, looking deep downfield and off the hand of Donald Driver, incomplete.
Aaron Rodgers took a huge shot. With that shoulder, he's got to get rid of that ball. It's the second time we've seen him hold the ball too long. He's trying to make a play here. Watch the shot that he takes here from Patrick Kearney. He's got to know that's coming and get rid of that ball. Oof. If he wants to stay healthy and stay in the game, he's a tough kid, already playing in a lot of pain. You got to be smart.
So second and 10. It is Grant off the left side. Leroy Hill drags him down after a short gain. And a guy that can appreciate, obviously, a little bit of defense is the glove. Former Defensive Player of the Year, 9-time NBA All-Star. Much of the damage done when he was with the Sonics. Gary Payton good enough to join us in the booth. You raised the 12th man flag. That was pretty special for you.
Yeah, especially here. You know, get the fans juiced up. And, you know, I've been here for a long time. I played here a lot. Got my career here. So it was nice doing that.
3rd and 7. A 3-receiver set for Rodgers out of the shotgun. Looking and finding Driver, who takes a shot, but hangs on for the first down and then lets him know about it, a little bit like Gary Payton used to do back in the day. So you like the guys that talk, GP.
I like that style stuff. You know, he did a little wiggle right there. That's pretty good.
You don't talk very much, do you?
No, I just talk a little bit.
You see Driver working in the slot. This is what he does best. Just a little seam route, a little timing route, just passes Josh Wilson. Takes a big shot, but got up and did his thing.
Lofa Tatupu, the 3-time Pro Bowler, leveling the blow, but Donald Driver will take it for the first down as Green Bay back in Seattle territory for the 3rd time today. Rodgers looking and hitting his tight end. Donald Lee gets it inside the 40.
GP, you ever play any football?
No, that ain't my sport. This ain't my sport. I don't like to get hit. Yeah, I don't like to get hit.
Oh, man.
But you know what, my man JC over here, see, now he was physical as a defensive back. He loved
to get
it. You know what?
After that, I bet I'll do a better job of trying to score on him in basketball than he could catch a pass on me.
He just talking. That's all. He run his mouth. He run his mouth right now.
We can do it on the show.
Yeah, all good.
2nd and 5. That is Grant up the middle and about a yard shy of the first down. Now, I don't want to let the secret out of the bag, but you are a huge football fan. You can tell everybody up here in Seattle and then walking back in Green Bay and around the country. Who were you a fan of?
Just 49ers. Y'all know I'm a 49er fan, man. We losing right now, but we're pretty good, though. I think we all right.
That's all right. Kurt Menefee coming up with a game break shortly on that one, I'm sure.
I seen you talking to Mike Holmgren down there before the game. You guys pretty good friends. You know him for a while?
Yeah, I've been knowing him for a while, and, you know, the coach was pretty good, you know, when I was here, so he got here late, but it was real nice to meet him.
3rd and 2. Grant busts it up the middle. Dragged down by Jordan Babineau as the Packers drive continues.
And by the way, Gary, the Niners are down 17-6 right now to Philadelphia.
Well, you know how that be, man. I mean, we're a building team. You know, we got to get ready. It's better than them Oakland Raiders, though. They got beat 34-3, so it's pretty much better than that.
So it was nice hearing those Seattle fans cheer for you again.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, every time I come here, they give me love. So I love being here.
They love the glove. Why not? 1st and 10 at the 30. Grant again cuts it back, but has nowhere to go. Dragged down by Brandon Mebane, the second-year player out of Cal. So seriously, JC was talking, but apparently he had a little see JC out.
See, JC too little. He too little right now. He too little.
And then on the other side, look at this, Chris. I don't think
I'm shooting right over him like this.
No,
it's all good.
We're talking football now, bump and run.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm gone. Then bam, hit me, and I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying? I got to go.
Big receiver over here. I got to throw
big receiver.
Got to be physical with him. He does not like contact.
Ooh, I'm gonna talk back crazy right back.
Rodgers alone in the backfield. Hits driver. Makes a good move, and there is a flag. Looks like that might be a face mask on the tackle. It's been a pretty clean game, but let's check in with Jeff Triplett.
Personal foul. Face mask. 37 in the defense. Half a distance to goal. 1st down.
Of course, Gary Payton knows nothing about, holding guys or getting penalized in any sort of sport. But GP, we want to thank you for your time. You go down there and you can root on Seattle for a victory. Thanks for
all right,
we'll keep you updated on the Niners.
Okay.
Well,
all right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
The future Hall of Famer, Gary Payton.
One of the best ever.
Actually, the penalty was on Jordan Babineau, number 27. So now the Packers down at the 12. And flags.
False start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
Second false start penalty on the Packers today as the count continues to go up here in Seattle.
Yeah, it does, but that's been a problem for this Packers team all year. They came into the game 44 penalties, the second most in the entire National Football League. Mike McCarthy told us he's done everything. They've addressed it. They've practiced better. They've had referees at practice trying to call penalties. They just have to do it.
So now 1st and 15 for Rodgers. They'll try Grant again off the left side, and Tutupu meets him head on. Lopa Tutupu, one of those Pro Bowlers that kind of got called out a little bit by Mike Holmgren. He met individually with a lot of his big-time players on defense.
And you see how aggressive they are today. And Lopa Tutupu flying to the football, being more physical. He's got that cast on his hand, too, so it's tough for him to wrap up. But like you said, he's a guy, a Pro Bowl guy that Coach Holmgren called down and said he's only playing okay. He's got to play much better for us to be successful.
4 receivers set. Jennings in motion. Rodgers has room to run, and he's going to do it and slide down wisely at the 11. He doesn't need to be taking any more hits on that sore shoulder. And that will take us to the 2-minute warning. Packers on the move, down 7.
Well, one area the Green Bay Packers have been good in this season is in the red zone. You see 11 possessions, 7 touchdowns, 64% touchdown percentage. That's 6th best in the National Football League. Normally when they get down here, they get into the end zone.
11th play of the drive, 3rd and 9, 4 receivers. for Aaron Rodgers. Flushed out of the pocket. Rodgers looks, throws, caught by Jennings, who stretches, but does not have the touchdown. And he's real close to that first down.
How about Aaron Rodgers moving, sliding in the pocket, buying some time for those receivers to uncover down the field. Look at him. There's only a 4-man rush. Instead of running and thinking run here, keeps his eyes down the field. Greg Jennings comes back to him and makes the catch.
They're going to have to measure this one. Now, even though Jennings is shy of the touchdown, they can have first and goal.
You know, in those situations, Chris, they have what they call scramble rules. When the quarterback scrambles, gets outside the pocket, somebody's got to come back to him. Somebody goes deep, and Greg Jennings was the guy coming back.
And by about a half a length of the football, the Packers have it first and goal. JC, this is what you were talking about, getting Greg Jennings involved in the offense, and he kind of does it himself.
Yeah, he is. He's going to come up and run his route, and then when he finds out that Aaron Rodgers is scrambling, look at him. He just buys some time, gets to the sideline, comes back to the quarterback. They call that being friendly to the quarterback, gives him a target to throw the ball.
A little stoppage on the field as the refs had a minor conference, but now we're going to get things going. First and goal is Grant. Lined up behind Hall, and it is Grant off the left side. Does not get in. Babineau, Katupu, Hill, all there. And I'm sure they're happy that they don't have to try and stop Brandon Jacobs like they did last week toward that goal line.
They weren't real successful doing that, but that time much tougher at the point of attack than they were at all last week against the Giants. That's one thing Coach Holmgren said. These guys, they were embarrassed by what happened last week. He really expected them to come out and play much better.
And look at this. No running backs in the backfield. Rodgers under center, and he's going to keep it himself. There's a strong push. And it's going to be third and goal. And once again, they're putting Rodgers in harm's way.
And I really don't understand that, especially when you've got big running backs, Ryan Grant back there, Deshaun Wynn, and now you have your quarterback that's beat up, shoulders killing him. He's doing the best he can. Look at, he stretches that ball out. He's still going.
Well, they said his progress was stopped because he clearly reached out. So now third and goal with the clock ticking down toward 30 seconds to go in the half.
And if you've done it twice, you might as well do it again. It looks like they're going to review this from up top.
We're reviewing on the ruling on the field on the previous play.
Well, quick reminder that coming up on the Visa halftime report, Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy will have scores and highlights from around the league, and the Fox Sports ticker has up to the second scores and stats, and you want to get all caught up because, as I said, 4 games came down to the final 10 seconds in the early going, so stay tuned to the Visa halftime report.
That's the beauty of the National Football League.
Well, if you take a look at this one more time with Aaron Rodgers, it's pretty apparent he stuck the ball out at the end, JC.
Oh, he got the ball over, but did they blow the play dead? That's the question. Did his momentum stop at any point in time, and then did they blow the play dead?
All the football has to do is just cross any part of the goal line, and it's a touchdown.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like his knee ever hit the ground. He just kept pushing, kept driving, and then he just reaches the ball over.
He's on top of that massive humanity there at the 1, but
it doesn't look like he's ever stopped.
No.
You see his legs are still driving and pumping, reaches the ball out, but the head linesman comes in right there. You see it. He's marking the spot.
Yeah, that was the line judge, Mike Spanier there, who seemed to be marking it at about the half-yard line.
If they did blow that dead, it was a quick whistle.
Once again, this is a booth review since it's coming in the final 2 minutes of the half. It's not being challenged. Can't do that the last 2 minutes of the half or the game. I don't think there's any question Unless they're saying his momentum was totally stopped, JC.
But it didn't look like his legs kept moving, and even when he's stretching the ball out, his legs are moving.
And how about Brandon Mebane playing without a lid down there?
Yeah, just
trying to stop him
off the ball. Look at that surge by Wells and Clifton. Great job. And now Aaron Rodgers just stretches the ball right over those guys in the goal line. Great push by the left side of that offensive line.
Chad Clifton, a guy who's been playing injured. In fact, he left the game early last week. Let's get the call from Jeff Triplett.
After reviewing the play, the runner's knees were never on the ground, and the ball penetrated the plane of the goal line, and it's a touchdown.
Well, the crowd doesn't like it, but JC, that's the right call.
That is the right call. When you watch Aaron Rodgers' legs, they never stop. The knee never goes down, and he stretches the ball over the goal line.
Mike Holmgren not too pleased with it. And once he gets another look at it, maybe he'll understand. But then again, he's an NFL head coach, so perhaps not.
He won't understand today. Once he gets in his office next week, he'll say, okay, good call.
Aaron Rodgers has 3 of Green Bay's 4 rushing touchdowns this season. Mr. Do Everything.
Getting the correct time since the score took place. We'll have to put time back on the clock.
Mike Holmgren trying to plead his case, saying the whistle had blown the play dead. But if that had been the case, then they wouldn't have been able to review it. Quick reminder, the Visa halftime report coming your way. Live from Los Angeles, highlights of the in-progress games and all those fantastic finishes from earlier today, including a crazy one down in Atlanta.
Please put 1 minute, 8 seconds on the game clock. 1 minute, 8 seconds.
How about Aaron Rodgers? They don't come any tougher than that kid. You've got to give him a lot of credit. He's taking some big shots. He was already in a lot of pain even before the game started. He's running quarterback sneaks. Not only is he taking shots throwing the ball, but pounding the ball in there.
Well, Mason Crosby ties things up. Crowd still booing over that one, but Aaron Rodgers getting it done on the ground to tie it up at 10. Well, this Tuesday at 8/7 Central, don't miss an all-new episode of Fringe. It is coming your way, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, and it's only on Fox.
I talked about Aaron Rodgers and how tough he is coming in. That injured shoulder, played through it all last week. Didn't practice at all this week, and then he comes out, he runs quarterback sneaks early in the game, takes big shots. Look at that shot right there. That's a huge shot for a guy that's already injured, and then they run a quarterback sneak with him again. So they're not worried about that shoulder. He's not favoring it, not babying it. That's why he got so much respect from this entire organization, his teammates, and even last week against the Falcons, some of those guys, Lawyer Malloy, Grady Jackson, they came up to him, told him how much they admired him for playing in that much pain.
In fact, Grady Jackson, who now plays with the Falcons and had played in Green Bay and was Brett Favre's teammate, said Brett Favre would have been proud of the way Aaron Rodgers gritted it out, threw for 313 yards and 3 touchdowns.
And that's the ultimate respect, is when your opponents come up and tell you how much they respect you.
Ball taken by Wilson at the 2. He's across the 20. There is a flag down as he is shoved out of bounds at about the 36. Jeff Triplett, a busy man the last couple minutes.
Illegal block in the back. Number 35 in the return team. Passing distance to the goal. First down.
That is the rookie Owen Schmidt, the fullback out of West Virginia. So that's going to push the Seahawks all the way back inside the 10. And you got to imagine that with a third-string quarterback in there, let's sit down on this one.
Let's run the ball a little bit, maybe a screen or a draw, as teams typically do the first play of 2-minute offense. You get a big play out of that, well, now you run up to the line of scrimmage and try to go, but if not, you just let the clock run out.
Just over a minute to go till the Visa halftime report. Scores and highlights coming your way, and they're going to keep it on the ground with Julius Jones. Gets up to the 10. And looks like both teams are content to just let this clock run.
Yeah, they're not going to take any chances with Charlie Frye. He only attempted 6 passes the entire first half. They don't want him throwing the ball way down here in their own territory at the end of the half.
Green Bay does have one more timeout if they want to use it. Frye hands it off again to Jones. And a cascade of boos falling on the turf, but I got to tell you, Mike Holmgren with a third-string quarterback there, I'm sure is content to get in the locker room tied at 10.
No question. Keep it close with the running game, like he told us, and then try to win it in the fourth quarter.
A touchdown pass from Frye, a touchdown run from Rodgers. The quarterbacks obviously getting it done so far. Your assessment of Charlie Frye so far?
Well, he hasn't been asked to do a whole lot. Just hand the ball off. They've got to continue to get the running game going and help.
We will hand it on over to the guys in Los Angeles for the Visa halftime report after this. Charlie Frye in his first start as a Seahawk as his team tied at 10 with Green Bay here on Fox. Once again, J.C. Pearson and Chris Rose. And J.C., second half, what do you expect out of the Seahawks offensively?
Well, I expect them to come out and pound the football. Julius Jones, T.J. Duckett, Maurice Morris, they've got to get those guys going, pound the football. That's what got them into the end zone, is running the ball.
What about Green Bay offensively? We're asking one big question so far.
Where's Greg Jennings? He leads the NFL in receiving. He's got 1 catch for 9 yards. You've got to get him the ball and get your offense going.
And the offense will get it going for the Packers here at the start of the second half. Blackman and Nelson deep. And it'll be Will Blackman again on the run, up at the 30 as he gets upended right there.
You know, Chris, when you look at the halftime stats, time of possession in favor of Green Bay in a big way. I think offensively they started to get into a flow as the game got going on. Other than that one turnover that led to that Seahawk touchdown, I think offensively they've done better. And I think if they can get Greg Jennings going, they'll be that much better.
Yeah, it is Donald Driver, leading receiver, as we check out your fantasy update, courtesy of FoxSports.com on MSN for all the latest stats. Check it out there, or NFL.com. 2 tight end formation on the first play of the second half for Green Bay. Dom Lee in motion, and it'll be Grant off the left side again, dragged down for no gain. And right now, let's check in with Michelle Turner. Michelle.
Hi, guys. Both coaches kind of had similar messages for their team at halftime. First, Coach Mike McCarthy said that he was happy with his team's play. He was glad that they got that momentum swing at the end of the first half, getting 7 on the board. But he also said that he believes his defense has got to play a little better, and he talked about that turnover that was key in the first half. Coach Holmgren, on the other hand, said his defense has got to get off the field, but he said he's happy the team is playing hard. He also said Charlie Frye playing pretty good today, but they haven't asked him to do too much. Back to you.
Thank you, Michelle. 2nd and 10. Rodgers looks and short as he did try to get the ball to Greg Jennings, but not enough mustard on it.
You know, as Michelle said, Holmgren said they've got to get off the field in third downs. They gave up 4 out of 7, 57%. That's too much. They allowed the Packers to convert on third down, and that keeps drives going. This is the downs that you got to win and get off the field.
Three receivers set for Rodgers. Here comes the blitz by the Seahawks. Rodgers gets rid of it and overshoots Donald Driver. Covered closely there by Josh Wilson, who has played a solid game.
Yeah, but I think you've got to go to Greg Jennings. He's isolated in single coverage on Kelly Jennings up top. It's one-on-one, it's man-to-man coverage, and you don't even look for him. You have time to find him. Working one-on-one against Kelly Jennings, you've got to get him the ball. You've got to throw it to him.
Jennings demoted this week. He's been nicked up as well, sore ribs, had a concussion last week in the Meadowlands. Poor kick by Derek Frost. Michael Bumpus, the undrafted rookie, just lets it settle down at the 32. A little pushing and shoving. And there is a flag on the field. That's Jared Bush, who's talking it up right now. Thank you for my helmet.
Here in the kick. Holding. 32 receiving team. 10-yard penalty. First down.
That is Kevin Hobbs, a reserve defensive back. And no need to get heated, but this is the NFL. Packers and Seahawks tied at 10. After the holding penalty on special teams by the Seahawks, they will start at their own 22, and a depleted secondary for Green Bay now has a new face. That is Charlie Peppra, third-year man out of Alabama. Aaron Rouse is on the bench at this point. Jones off the left side for a couple.
And that's exactly what I was talking about, is they've got to establish the run just like they did on their touchdown drive. Maurice Morris around the left end. They pound TJ Duckett around the left end, and now they come back with the fake play action around the left side, and now John Carlson catches the ball into the end zone. That's what they've got to do this second half. Get that running game established. That's going to open up the play action for Charlie Fry.
Three receivers set. Fry hands it off again to Jones. Has got a lot of room. He is in the Packers territory and gets dragged down from behind. Tramon Williams finally trips him up. There is, however, a flag.
Penalty. Still second down.
And that is going to nullify a 51-yard scamper by Jones.
You can see Mike Wall right there. Look at it. Look at him. Right there on John Jolly. Just gets his hands extended, grabs the jersey. It was a good call.
Mike Wall, a two-time Pro Bowler, spent his first 7 seasons in Green Bay.
Watch him there. John Jolly's going to slide off and try to get into the hole right there. Mike Wall just pulls him down. That allowed Julius Jones to get through.
So now on 2nd and 17, Jones tries the right side. Ryan Pickett out there to bring him down, along with Jeremy Thompson, the rookie 4th rounder that got the start today for the injured Cullen Jenkins. And that's a guy that was playing so well for the Packers defensive front.
He was probably the best up front in run defense and in trying to get to the quarterback. That was a huge loss for him. Then his replacement, Michael Montgomery's injured, so now Jeremy Thompson, the 3rd guy at that right defensive end spot, is in today.
Seattle just 1 for 5 on 3rd downs today. This one's 3rd and long. Fry looking deep downfield for Ingram, off his mitts and incomplete.
Well, it's going to be tough for these receivers to get a lot of separation from these defensive backs. Charles Woodson, one of the best, if not the best, playing this year. Good coverage. These receivers aren't fast guys. They aren't quick guys. That was a concern. I talked to Lionel Washington, who's the defensive back coach. He said, we just can't get lulled to sleep because they aren't big-name guys and aren't real fast. We got to play.
Ingram, the most decorated of those receivers, 8 grabs last week in his season debut, shut out so far as we head to the second half. John Ryan on the punt it. And this one a low end-over-end kick that takes a hop. Blackman fields it at the 35 and gets dragged down by Kevin Hobbs. Aaron Rodgers is going to get another crack at that Seattle defense. Last time he got him into the end zone. Those are Aaron Rodgers' numbers today. However, he started 5 of his first 6 and has slowed down since then. He will come out in a 3-receiver set. Delayed handoff to Grant. Gets tripped up by Marcus Trufant, the Pro Bowler. Also Leroy Hill there as well. Grant yet to have a 100-yard game this season. Remember, from about week 8 on last year, only LaDainian Tomlinson had more yards on the ground than Ryan Grant.
Well, he's been dealing with that hamstring injury. Feels like he's starting to get back to where he should be. He had his best game of the year last week, rushing for 83 yards. They just haven't been able to get him going today.
4 receivers for Rodgers on 2nd and 6.
This ball's got to come out quick.
Intended for Ravel Martin, a little bit behind him, and he got lit up by Trufant.
But whenever a team goes empty backfield, you know the ball has to come out fast. They're not going to hold the ball back there. So as a defensive back, you're going to sit on these short routes. And that's why Marcus Trufant was able to make this play. You see, he doesn't even backpedal. He takes 1 step back, and now he's coming forward because he knows the ball has to come out right now.
So now 3rd and 6 as Deshaun Wynn, just brought up from the practice squad earlier this week, checks into the backfield. That is Jennings in motion. And here come the Seahawks. And finally Jennings with a little grab. And they are whistling the play down as Jennings did lose the ball, but gets enough for the first down.
Pretty good protection. Aaron Rodgers has enough time. The Seahawks are bringing 5 guys, bring 6 guys. And that means you're man-to-man outside. Watch Jennings come from the slot right there, the top of your screen. Able to make the play on Josh Wilson, but they put Jennings in the slot that time so that he can have more field to work with.
This is the 2nd catch on the day for Jennings. And this is Grant. Gets about a yard. You know, let's remember this Green Bay rushing game really didn't get into it until mid-season last year. So whatever they get here in week 6, they feel like they're making a little bit of progress. They're ahead of where they were last year.
Yeah, but last year they made a drastic change too, philosophy-wise. They said, hey, we can't run the ball. We're not going to bang our heads against the wall anymore. We'll just throw it. 1st down, 2nd down, 3rd down, and we'll just run it as a compliment. And that really worked for them until they were able to get Ryan Grant in that running game going.
2 tight end formation on 2nd down as Rodgers is checking at the line. It's Grant again trying to find a hole, and there's nothing there except Lofa Tupu.
And Brian Russell, good job of force coming up out of that secondary. He's the guy that really made Ryan Grant have to settle down. You're going to see number 25 just come right now. There he is, coming right down. Look at him, does a good job taking on Corey Hall, and that's the guy that really made the play.
3rd and 11 for the Packers. Rodgers again looking, completing to Driver, and he's going to be stopped shy of the 1st down by about 2 yards. Jordan Babineau right there on the coverage.
But Donald Driver, good job coming back to the ball. Babineau thinks he has an interception here, and Donald Driver just comes back to the ball right there and gets in front of Babineau. See Babineau right here. He thinks he's going to pick this ball off, but Donald Driver comes back to the quarterback and makes the catch.
That'll bring on the punter Derek Frost again. Michael Bumpus is back at his 10-yard line. Calling for the fair catch, and he makes it at his own 16. Midway through the 3rd, we are still tied at 10.
Well, coming into this week, both of these defenses were among the worst in giving up long pass plays. You see Seattle's giving up 17, the Packers 15, but today, 0 passes given up over 20 yards, and really it's because of the quarterbacks. Charlie Frye, the number 3 quarterback for Seattle, not even looking to throw the ball down the field, and Aaron Rodgers, with that injured throwing shoulder, hasn't really looked to force the ball down the field either.
In fact, Frye barely looking to throw the ball. This will be just his 8th attempt, intended for the backup tight end Will Heller. Got a little mixed up there with A.J. Hawk at the end, who kind of pulled a little wrestling move at the end.
Just a little shove. This is football. It's not basketball like we talked with Gary Payton.
You better be careful. GP might come back in here looking for you.
But, you know, when you don't throw the ball down the field like we talked about, you don't press the defense. So now those guys are sitting at the line of scrimmage. Those guys are not worried about you throwing the ball down the field. It makes it tougher to run. It makes it tougher to do anything, really.
Little play action, and Frye hits Leonard Weaver out of the backfield. He is brought down quickly by Tramon Williams. And very quickly, let's check in with Michelle Turner.
Hey, Chris, you know, you guys talked about Aaron Rouse being on the sidelines. Well, he is actually done for the day. The official word is he has a head injury. They said they won't be able to elaborate on that until later on in the week, but he is out for the day. Back to you.
All right, Michelle, thank you. And that man, the 3rd-year safety out of Alabama, Charlie Pepper, who actually started in place of Rouse last week, who was starting in place of Atari Bigby, is now in the game. Bigby missing his 4th straight game with a hamstring injury, and Frye has that one batted down by Colin Cole. And let's check in right now with Kurt Menefee, her game break. Kurt.
Well, Chris, no batting this one down. Cowboys and Cardinals. Tony Romo finds Miles Austin. Tiptoes into the end zone for the score, and Dallas has its first lead of the day at 14-7 over the Cardinals. Back to Chris, JC, and the show.
Thank you, Kurt.
Everybody talks about T.O., but that Miles Austin kid has made some big catches, some big plays for the Cowboys all year.
John Ryan, fielded by Will Blackman, gets up to midfield, where he is dragged down by the long snapper, Jeff Robinson. Packers will start with the ball at midfield. Well, a win by Green Bay, and it would be a 3-way tie atop the NFC North. And I know that the Bears are kicking themselves today. They scored a touchdown with 11 seconds to go to take the lead in Atlanta, but it was Jason Elam from 48 yards out to give Atlanta the win and a 4-2 record.
You got to play until the final second ticks off the clock. I'm sure that's what Lovie Smith is talking to his team about today.
Green Bay starting in Seattle territory on this one. Rodgers hitting his fullback, Corey Hall, who gets hit by 3 Seattle defenders, including Leroy Hill. Hall back after missing 3 games because of a knee injury.
Here's Greg Jennings working on Josh Wilson. We talked about throwing the ball down the field, especially to him. There's some safety help inside. That's why they come off of that. You see the tight end, Donald Lee, running wide open in the middle of the field. Aaron Rodgers just got to get his eyes up, trust his arm, and his strength in his shoulder and throw the ball down the field.
You have to wonder how much that shoulder is bothering him, because Seattle has seen a heavy dose of that man, Ryan Grant, this afternoon.
See, they haven't really tried to throw the ball down the field at all. Green Bay, only 5.2 yards per attempt. And look at Seattle. 2 yards. You might as well run the ball. If you're only going to throw it that short, you might as well just run it.
3rd and 6 for Rodgers. Donald Lee in motion. Here comes Seattle on the blitz. Rodgers goes downfield looking for Jennings. He's got it for the touchdown. Just like J.C. Pearson said, you got to go after him, and they went after Marcus Trufant, the Pro Bowler.
Yeah, it's not that hard. You got to throw the ball down the field. When you have receivers that are this good, like Greg Jennings, Donald Driver, those guys are the strength of your team. You got to give them opportunities. Throw the ball down the field. They will make a play for you, and that's exactly what Greg Jennings did.
For Jennings, his 4th TD catch of the season. Mason Crosby adds the PAT. Rodgers to Jennings, 45 yards for the 6, and Green Bay leads it by 7.
I talked about that cast on the left hand of Marcus Trufant. Now he can't jam with that left hand, and watch what he does. He just has to open up and run. Now it's a track meet. Who's the fastest guy on the field? And now Greg Jennings just runs right by him, and that's too easy. If you're in bump and run coverage, you've got to get your hands on a guy to slow him down. Otherwise, get your track shoes on and let's race.
Well, you asked right before the second half kick, where's Greg Jennings? I think we found him.
Yeah.
Taken by Wilson on the short kick and brought down after a short gain by Jarrett Bush. So you just saw what Greg Jennings can do on the field. Now let's get to know Mr. Jennings.
Man, I sing everywhere. I think I got the voice that no one has, but I won't let you hear it. Only I know my voice. Not, oh, yeah. No, just play. Do not put that on there. Do not.
It's on.
It is. It is. It's on. It's on. Once it's on tape,
yeah.
You're finished here at Fox. Charlie Fry trying to set up a little screen, it looked like, and hits his tight end Carlson for a short gain. Brought down by Charlie Pepra. Well, Jennings, 62 yards on the day. He actually came in not only leading the NFL in receiving yards, but he had 102 more yards than the next guy, who was Larry Fitzgerald of Arizona.
Yeah, but in that first half only had 1 catch for 9 yards. You can see, we talked about them having to go to him. They've done it.
Well, Seattle goes to Julius Jones, who gets stuck by Nick Collins. And he's singing a little bit there, too. Going to give Mr. Jennings a battle. Now, we said at some point, JC, that Charlie Fry is going to have to make a play. And now that he's playing from behind, this would be a good time to get it done. Yeah, you've got to make a play at some point. You can't just rely on the run game. That's going to take some pressure off. You've got to throw the ball down the field and make a play. There's an injured Packer. It is defensive lineman Ryan Pickett, who missed a little practice time this week. He's got sore knees, and he'll afford to lose any more defensive linemen. There were only 3 coming in. They lose him. Colin Cole has to step in. Now, those guys, they don't get a blow. Those big guys inside, you like to rotate them, keep them fresh. And it's really been a war of attrition, one that Green Bay has been losing this year. I mean, Colin Jenkins is out the year. Mike Montgomery, they hope to have him after the bye. Al Harris, he's going to get his spleen checked again. And then Atari Bigby's missing his 4th straight game. Yeah, that's big on the defense. And now Mike Montgomery's missed today. Now Ryan Pickett is out. Well, when you're playing like that, Aaron Campman with his 2nd sack of the day brings down Fry, much to the chagrin of this crowd here at Quest Field. Aaron Campman again working against Locklear. Now he comes inside. They try to double him with Womack. He just splits those guys and gets up the field and sacks Charlie Fry. That's, when they watch the film, that's unacceptable. You can't have 2 guys that big blocking 1 guy and they lose. Ryan gets the punt away. Blackman takes it. There is a flag down. And so too is Blackman at the 39. Here is Jeff Triplett again.
During the kick, personal foul. face mask, number 24 of the return team. 15 yards, first down.
Tonight, it is Game 3 of the National League Championship Series. As the scene now shifts to Los Angeles, where Ryan Howard and the Phils take on Man Ram and the Dodgers. It's all coming your way tonight on Fox, right after the OT presented by Lowe's. In fact, JC, a Southern California guy, I think you're going to be growing out those dreads like Manny, getting on the train.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I know the Dodgers need a big win tonight, though.
Their crowd will be behind them, much like this one in Seattle. Two tight end formation for Rodgers, handing it off to Grant off the left side. He had a little bit of a hole, but that closed quickly. Brought down by Leroy Hill. Green Bay just owning it through the air. Do you expect them to maybe test this secondary a little bit more in the second half? We saw it work with Jennings on their last drive.
Yeah, no question. I mean, that's their strength versus the Seattle Seahawks defense weakness. So you've got to continue to try to exploit that.
Instead, it's Grant again up the middle. There's been very little room to run over the last 2 quarters for Grant. Now closing in on 60 yards in the afternoon. Now, perhaps, listen, Rodgers' shoulder, he said it's not going to get any worse, but maybe, maybe it's bothering him to the point where he told us that if he makes 4 or 5 throws in a row, that's really when the pain is.
Yeah, so they have to be careful when they dial up those long passes and when they don't. Obviously on 3rd down here, they're probably going to throw the ball, but they've got to run the ball also to take some pressure off of that shoulder. But what they do best right now is throw it.
Deshaun Wynn, the lone setback. That's Jennings in motion on 3rd and 6. Rodgers again. That is a first down as Jennings makes the grab, his 3rd of the second half. Broke the tackle of Kelly Jennings to move the chains. And Jennings, one of those guys that he told us yesterday in the meeting. He said, is it about time we start mentioning him as one of the premier receivers in the NFC? He said, please don't.
Yeah, right. He wants to fly under the radar. No, not a lot of attention, not a lot of hype. And hopefully defenses don't start focusing on him either. But I don't know how you can. You watch the film, he's the guy that you got to stop. He's their big play guy.
Rodgers looking, flushed out of the pocket and just throws it away. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers now making his 6th NFL start. What's your assessment of Rodgers so far through 5.5 games?
Oh, very poised, very tough, very poised. And really all these players, teammates, coaches, they love him. Not because he's been a good player, and he has. In a tough situation, he's played tremendously well, but just the toughness that he's shown, that he's willing to sacrifice his health, his body for this team. And, when you have guys like that, man, you can't help but to rally around them.
Well, now 2nd and 10 for the leader of this pack. Pressured, sidesteps, Kearney looking downfield. Finds Jennings, and that'll be another first down. Rodgers, a big guy, but he's got some mobility.
He's got a lot of mobility, and that's probably what he does best. When things break down, he's able to move away from pressure. You see Kearney coming around the outside. He's able to break that. He buys some time, but you look at his eyes. He's looking, surveying the field, all over the field, telling guys where to go. He's not scrambling to run. He's scrambling to find an open receiver down the field. We've seen him do it time and time again.
That's not just anybody he got away from. A perennial Pro Bowler in Patrick Kearney, who led the NFC in sacks last season. Grant off the left side, dragged down by Craig Terrell. Terrell in his 5th year out of Purdue. Backup defensive lineman, getting in on the rotation. This is the type of tempo that Mike McCarthy wanted, and Mike Holmgren can't stand to see. Green Bay mixing it up nicely, changing sets on the offensive side of the ball.
Formations, personnel, but Mike Holmgren's been really disappointed in his defensive play this entire season.
Rodgers again on the bootleg, and he's going to run it. There is a flag down. Rodgers out of bounds at the 40. And he's signaling it's against the Seattle secondary.
Yeah, Ravel Martin on the double move down there, and Trufant just grabs him. It's going to go against the Seahawks.
Holding, number 23 of the defense. 5 yards added to the end of the run. First down.
And again, that is because Aaron Rodgers is able to run around back there, buy some time, and now your receivers break their routes off, and now they're running down the field. Some are coming back. As a defensive back, there's nothing harder than that, to try to cover a guy when the quarterback's scrambling, because now it's like Sandlot. This guy's going to run all over the place. There is no set route for him to run. Marcus Trufant just grabs him.
16-yard run by Rodgers, tack on the 5. So now the ball at the 35-yard line of Seattle. Grant trying that left side behind his Pro Bowler, Chad Clifton. Things getting a little chippy down there as Ravel Martin, Lofa Tatupu, Brian Russell all chatting it up. And Green Bay thoroughly dominating this third quarter. They're not going to get off a play, but they're going to hang on to the lead. Packers take a 7-point lead into the fourth. Packers with the lone touchdown of the third quarter. They lead it 17-10 going into the fourth. Chris Rose, J.C. Pearson, Michelle Turner with you from Seattle. 2nd and 9 for Aaron Rodgers. It's Donald Lee. Short gain as he gets wrapped up.
Packers offense seemed to have really gotten rolling in that third quarter, and you can see coming into this game, the Seahawks, third quarter, for some reason, they've given up the most points in the NFL, 45 points coming in, 7 points today. For some reason, coming out of the locker room to start the second half, defensively, there's not that intensity.
And even worse for Mike Holmgren's squad, his team's been outscored now 52-3 in the third quarter. Something's wrong there.
Yeah.
3rd and 5 now as Deshaun Wynn has checked into the backfield yet again. That's Lee in motion. Rodgers rolling out of the pocket. Looks and finds Driver, who gets clocked, but hangs on to it. He'll take a licking, but he keeps on ticking as we move the chains to the Packers. Trufant and Wilson combining on the stop.
And it looked to me like the Seahawks knew what was coming. Watch them at the line of scrimmage. Watch them run out. They're all going to point to their left. See Julian Peterson, now they're all pointing to the left, like they knew that this rollout was coming. They only rushed 3 guys, but the ball came out so quickly, they didn't have time to cover Jennings out there. A drive.
It's Grant off the right side this time. He's got a little bit of a hole in the gain of 8. Lofa Tatupu there on the stop. Boy, Grant better make sure there's a nice little ice bath on that way home tonight on that plane.
Yeah, it's getting tough down there, especially running the ball, but that's what they want to do. They want to be able to spread you out and then try to pound you inside. Seahawks got pounded. They watched the video of the game last week against the Giants, so they feel like they can be more physical running the ball. And that leads to this time of possession graphic. Already almost 30 minutes of time of possession for the Packers.
It is Grant, his 25th carry, and he gets stuck by Craig Terrell, who's played a nice game today. But The good news for the Packers, Grant, as I said, 25 carries this afternoon. They are 6-0 when he carries at least 19 times.
Yeah, like we talked about, when you're able to run the ball, pound it, it wears the defense down. Now it opens up the passing game for you as well. You have the defense on its heels. You're controlling the time of possession, the clock. You're up by 7. And remember, the Seahawks are playing with really their number 3 quarterback today. It's going to be tough for them to score a lot of points.
Win in the backfield on 3rd and 2. Driver in motion. Rodgers looks, finds Jordy Nelson, stays on his feet and gets inside the 5-yard line. Knocked out by Trufant and Hill. But it's the rookie from Kansas State moving the chains, and he's excited about it.
Yeah. Again, they go with their no huddle real quick. Look, Seahawks are kind of confused. Almost have 12 men on the field.
That is Grant off the left side, cuts it back and gets stopped shy of the goal line. Well, they almost got me. I'm happy you were paying attention, too. I was a lot like that Seattle defense.
They wanted to hurry up and run their short yardage goal line package on it. See if they could catch the Seahawks with their little guys on the field. They almost did it.
Aaron Rodgers started well, had some bumps in the middle, but is now connected on 5 of his last 6. 2nd and goal. Rodgers looking, throws, touchdown. It is John Kuhn, the fullback.
One more time, we've talked about it all day. Aaron Rodgers buying extra time with his feet, keeping his eyes down the field. That allowed John Kuhn to uncover. Ryan Russell loses him in coverage. Now it's an easy throw, but it was all because of Aaron Rodgers' presence of mind to not panic and just continue to survey the field.
Kuhn, the 3rd-year undrafted free agent out of Shippensburg with his first career touchdown. The point after gives Green Bay a 14-point lead. They go 84 yards in 15 plays, and now they're up by 2 touchdowns.
Going back to the touchdown, watch Brian Russell here, gets himself all turned around for no reason. He comes up, just jam Kuhn and run with him. He turns his back, gets pushed out, and now Kuhn just scores. It's all boxing out.
Yeah, but
look,
it was the second best box out of the day.
Give it to me. Give it to me right there. I'm scoring.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm scoring.
Remember, he is still in the building. He will come find you. I know that, man. He will come find you. Josh Wilson takes a knee 2 yards deep into the end zone. So now Charlie Fry, who's only thrown 11 passes all day, has to figure out a way to get some points on the board.
Yep.
Taking a look at the NFC West standings, Arizona with the 1-game lead over San Francisco. Both those teams in action. In fact, the Cardinals and the Cowboys are tied as they are just underway in the 4th, and San Francisco now has the lead by 2 over Philly. So your buddy Gary Payton will be happy. Yes. Charlie Fry now has to start putting it up in the air and hits his fullback Leonard Weaver for a gain of 6. Don't forget, coming up right after the Seahawks and the Packers, you've got the OT with all the guys back in LA. You got your highlights, your analysis, your interviews, and you'll want to see all the action from earlier today. 4 games. It came down to the final 10 seconds. Plus, you've got some thrillers out in Arizona and San Francisco. It's the OT presented by Lowe's. And that is the run presented by Mo Morris for the first down.
Yeah, I like to see those highlights. The Rams beating the Redskins.
I bet you Howie Long would like to see that,
yeah,
too.
Exactly.
You know, Howie obviously keeps his distance with his son, Chris, the 2nd overall pick in the draft. But the phone conversation this week in the Long household is going to be much more pleasant.
Right.
So Seattle, this was its first down this half. You can see totally outgained by Green Bay. And that one's picked off by Charles Woodson. His 4th interception of the season.
And Charlie Fry never saw him. Charles Woodson was standing there the whole time, and really it looked like the ball was thrown to Woodson.
And he wasn't getting the high fives or pounds. He was getting handshakes.
Watch him just stand. He's reading Charlie Frye the whole time. He stops and comes right back, and Charlie Frye thinks it's man-to-man instead of zone coverage, and he thinks that Woodson is going to continue running down the field, but instead he tricks him, and he comes right back under the ball, under Carlson for the ball.
First interception of the day by the Pack. This is Grant off the right side for nothing. So you talked about Charlie Frye being a little bit confused by the coverage. How?
Well, this is what happens. He sees bump and run right now, so he thinks it's man-to-man. Look at the corners up there. So he's man-to-man. Carlson should have this corner route, but it's really zone. Now, Charles Woodson, look at his eyes. Back inside, reading Charlie Frye, reading the route, comes right off and makes the interception.
The four-time Pro Bowler with his 4th interception this season, the 33rd of his outstanding career. And he's been playing with a broken toe since opening day. Has barely practiced. But obviously, he is a master. Now Rodgers gets swarmed under by a host of Seahawks. Terrell, Darryl Tapp there, Patrick Kearney as well. Did Rodgers just give him a little shove?
Did you see him just push Darryl Tapp's helmet into the ground to help himself up? That's just the little things, the little sneaky things you do that you won't get in trouble for, you won't get caught for, but a little kick in the pile, a little grab.
He was just trying to brace himself so as not to put too much pressure on his shoulder. 3rd and 17. Deshaun Wynn in the backfield. 4 receivers in the set for Rodgers. And he just dumps it off to Wynn. Big hit there by Julian Peterson, stopped well shy of the first down. And Mark Tauscher, one of the few healthy bodies on the Packers, he said, I'm okay, I'm good. But medical staff coming out and saying, all right, just follow us, big boy.
Yeah.
Chad Clifton, who plays on the opposite side of Tauscher, the Pro Bowler, bothered by a sore hamstring, left last week's game early, has made it through the duration today. This is Mason Crosby from 51, almost 52. Plenty of leg for the second-year man out of Colorado. And the interception leads to 3 more points. As you can see, Cletus was taking his hacks, getting ready for Game 3 of the NLCS tonight on Fox. Phillies and Dodgers coming your way, so don't go anywhere. The fans are starting to go somewhere here in the building because Green Bay has scored 24 unanswered points. Crosby. That is Josh Wilson at the 5. And gets it up to the 35, where he is dragged down by Deshaun Wynn. Green Bay has done the unthinkable. Keep the fans here silent. A thoroughly dominant second half by the Green Bay Packers. Every stat, check mark it under Green Bay's column today, yeah. JC.
They've come out the second half and really just controlled the line of scrimmage. They've been able to run the ball. They've been able to throw the ball down the field. Defensively, they played well. They took the ball away the last drive, so thoroughly dominated the Seahawks in the second half.
And Frye is dragged down by Colin Cole. The 4th sack on the day for the Packers. And there are some whistles on the field as there is a flag.
Illegal contact. 51 in the defense. 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
That's on Brady Papinga. Let's check in right now with Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles with the game break.
All right, Cowboys and Cardinals going at it. Arizona's Kurt Warner finds Steve Preston for his first career touchdown reception and is good enough to put Arizona on top by a touchdown in the fourth quarter. Back to Chris, JC, and Michelle.
Thank you, Kurt. Of course, no Anquan Bolden this week. Perhaps they expect him back after the bye. Those facial injuries. A guy like Preston getting some opportunity.
Yeah, the Cardinals, pretty surprising how well they're playing this year. Kurt Warner, of course, back at the helm.
Fry looking downfield. Checks it off to Morris. Gets up to the 46 and dragged down by Colin Cole, who's had a solid game. Now 8 minutes to go in the game, and
they've got to get going. They can't huddle up every time they're down by 17 points. Said less than 8 minutes left in this game. That's 3 possessions at least. You've got to hurry up. You can't afford to waste time in the huddle. You go right now to your 2-minute offense.
But let's remember, this guy's got really so few snaps with his first-team offense since preseason. Fry flushed out. Going to get dragged down a little shy of the first down.
And that's one of the problems with Charlie Fry, and that's exactly what Mike Holmgren told us, is that Charlie will make the read, but he won't pull the trigger. And that's a classic example right there of him holding onto the ball instead of just letting it go. He said, you'll go through your progression reads, whatever you see, just turn it loose. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. And Charlie Fry right now, especially on that last play, holding the ball too long.
Weaver in motion, Duckett in the backfield on 3rd and short. Fry looking and connecting. That is John Carlson, the rookie tight end out of Notre Dame, who had his first touchdown reception earlier in the game.
Now you've got to get going. I don't understand what they're doing here. Look at the clock. Continuing to move. It's going to be almost 6 minutes left before they get this snap off, and they're down 17 points.
How much do you practice a 2-minute offense during the week?
You practice every Friday, but he's been here for a while. He's been in this system for a year, almost a year and a half, so he should know it.
Well, that ball is picked off by Tramon Williams. Second interception on the day for the Pack. For Williams, his 3rd, and it is handshakes all around. Yes.
And so I don't think it really was a question of if he knows how to run the 2-minute offense. It's his decision making, and is he going to throw the ball accurately?
That's one of the greatest celebrations I've seen. It's like, stay classy, San Diego. That's beautiful.
Williams on Corin Robinson. This ball's really underthrown. See, he's got to stop. And Corin really right there has got to turn into the defensive back and break that ball up so that Tramon Williams doesn't make that interception. But look, that's a pretty proper celebration right there. You see that?
It's very classy.
Yeah.
Very classy.
Very classy, very proper.
A tough day for Charlie Fry, who never hit the field in a regular season game for Seattle before today. Grant, his 28th carry on the day. And a frustrated Matt Hasselbeck. Once again injured himself on the 4th play of the game last week in the Meadowlands. Stuck it out till late in the 3rd quarter, but didn't practice this week. They thought he'd be able to give it a go, and can't really figure out where that pain is coming from that bone bruise in his right knee.
You can see how frustrated he is, because what's going through his mind right now is what could he have brought to this team today. He's out watching the game and seeing the defense and knowing what he would have done, and it's frustrating when it doesn't get done the way that you would have done it.
Grant for a couple, dragged down by Darryl Tapp. Rocky Bernard also in on the stop. So this Tuesday at 8/7 Central, don't miss an all-new episode of the Emmy Award-winning series House. Fox Tuesday, all new, all night, starting with House at 8/7 Central, right here only on Fox, where viewer discretion is advised. Seahawks call their first timeout as Mike Holmgren trying to lengthen the game as much as possible. Well, a big second half from Greg Jennings, just like my partner J.C. Pearson said. Get the ball to him, all will be right.
And that's really what opened it up for the Packers this second half. Is they've got Greg Jennings involved. They were able to stretch the field, make some big plays, and then everything else kind of opened up from there. The run game, they were able to throw it short. And Aaron Rodgers, you can't give him enough credit for the way he's played again today.
3rd and 8 for Rodgers, who's going to throw it. Hit Ravel Martin, who drops it. So the Packers content to just punt it away at this point. And Rodgers told us that, you know what, he's just going to have to play with the pain in his shoulder next week. Indianapolis comes a-calling to Lambeau Field, and then they finally have a chance to rest up that shoulder, and they'll see how it responds after that.
Yeah, he's done a great job, not only throwing the ball, but he's taking some big shots, too, and hung in there all game long. It doesn't look like it's affecting him too much.
Frost, poor punt there, but Bumpus is going to let it roll inside of his own 30. So now you're about to fall, barring a miracle comeback, to 1-4 if you're Mike Holmgren and Seattle. I mean, obviously you need to get healthy on the offensive side of the ball, and it all starts with Matt Hasselbeck. Any bright spots today for his crew?
Well, you know, I think you've got to look at that fact that, hey, we'll get our leader back. We'll get Matt Hasselbeck back. He's the one guy that you can't lose. You can afford to lose other guys. He was that one piece that they could ill afford to lose. They lost him, and we see how they're playing today. But defensively, too, Mike Holmgren told us he's been disappointed in those guys. They haven't stepped up today.
Fry going to give it a shot again. Has one wobble away, and Johnny Jolly was right in his face. Well, this one has been thoroughly dominated, especially in the second half, by Green Bay. Rodgers very efficient on the day, and Jennings held to just one catch in that first half, as you said, has totally exploded.
Look at that. 17 unanswered points in the second half, though, by that Seattle defense. They've got to carry this team while their offense struggles. And that's what Mike Holmgren told us coming in, and they just have not played up to the level of expectation.
Fry hits Leonard Weaver, gets the first down. Dragged down by Brady Papinga and Nick Collins, and now they're going to start to put a little hustle into that offense. Doesn't get any easier for Seattle. Back-to-back road games at Tampa Sunday night and then San Francisco before Philly drops by Quest Field. Ingram has it go in and out of his hands. He's been held without a catch today, but you should be sure to catch Game 3 of the National League Championship Series tonight on Fox. That is following the OT presented by Lowe's.
I know what I'm going to do after this game. Going back to the hotel, put my feet up, watch the OT, and then watch the baseball game. Great evening.
Watch those other guys get to work for a little while.
And enjoy.
Charlie Fry goes to work. Ball is tipped away, intended for the rookie John Carlson. Brandon Schiller there on the coverage. On the other hand, you look at Green Bay, 3-3 through 6 games. You know, not exactly where they wanted to be, especially after they started 2-0 and then they dropped 3 in a row. But because of all the health concerns, Mike McCarthy's got to feel okay with his position.
A win is a win. In the National Football League, they'll take this win today, snap that 3-game losing streak, and then they'll focus on next week on Monday. They've got some health issues, but everybody does. It's the National Football League. It's week 6. Everybody's going to have injuries. You just have to deal with them. Next guy's got to step in.
Flags down.
Delay game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Well, as ugly as last week was up in the Meadowlands, a 44-6 drubbing, their worst loss as a franchise in 11 years. This is a difficult one to stomach as well.
Because it's at home.
Yeah.
They play much better at home. They wanted to come out. They expected to play much better, but obviously their offense is hindered tremendously without Matt Hasselbeck.
Fry has plenty of room to run. Gets into Packer territory, takes a shot, but keeps going. And he gets dragged down at the 37-yard line. And there's a little scuffle back at the 43. That's Ingram and Woodson who got into it. Those are two vets.
They couldn't get those guys separated either. These guys are going at it.
But obviously, Ingram frustrated. Hasn't caught one pass today. Remember, that's a guy that caught 94 balls last season, a Seattle record.
They caught 8 last week. That's what happens when you have those defensive backs in your face all day. They're pushing you. They're jamming you. It's frustrating. Get mad.
Well, let's take a look as Fry was scrambling for 27 yards.
And it was Ingram that actually threw the block, but Woodson just grabbed him and slammed him to the ground.
Fry just gets rid of it over the head of Leonard Weaver, and there is a flag in the backfield as Aaron Campman perhaps hit the quarterback a little late. But let's see.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Number 74 in the defense. Unnecessarily threw the quarterback to the ground. 15 yards, first down.
Well, Aaron Campman in this defense will realize next week they're not playing Charlie Fry and a struggling Seattle offense as you look at their upcoming game. Of course, the Colts 31-3 winners today over Ray Lewis and that Baltimore D.
Yeah, and then they get a bye to try to get healthy, work on some things. They've got a tough stretch coming up after the bye. 3 physical football teams.
That is Weaver inside the 10-yard line, dragged down by Charlie Pepra.
And people might be saying, well, why didn't they do that earlier in this game? Why didn't? Well, it's a whole different mentality now. This defense of Green Bay, they're just thinking pass, pass, pass. They're just rushing up the field, and they give up a big draw, but it's because they're trying to get to the quarterback.
Fry on 1st and goal, hits his tight end, Carlson, and gets knocked down by Pepra again, brought down at the 5.
And the clock just continues to move and continues to run. You're down by a lot of points. Yeah, it's a good drive they're putting together, but this is not the time to put a nice drive together. You got to get chunks of yards, get into the end zone.
Now 2nd and goal with under 3.5 to go. Fry with the fade to Robinson. Out of the end zone. He hung on to it, but did not get the feet down.
You know, we saw them at practice on Friday run this play over and over, the fade route to Corn Robinson. We expected to see it, but the ball just drifts a little too far outside. Corn does a good job catching it, trying to drag his feet, but just a little bit too far out of bounds.
Great effort, but just couldn't get those tippy toes down. So now it's 3rd and goal. Fry, touchdown, Kerry Colbert. For Colbert, just his 3rd catch as a Seahawk. Yet another one of those receivers that came over after the season started.
Yeah, but I think you've got to give Charlie Fry a lot of credit on that drive. Had the big run on the scramble, but threw some good balls. And that's something that they can build on in the event that Hasselbeck's not able to go next week.
Olindo Mari adds the point after. So now Charlie Fry gets it within 10. So let's see what's going to be coming your way on the OT presented by Lowe's. Let's send it to Kurt Menefee.
Thank you, Chris. Coming up on the OT presented by Lowe's, it's been a day filled with fantastic finishes, and we'll have all the highlights and scores. Plus, big games from Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, and Brett Favre, and then playoff baseball between the Dodgers and Phillies. It's all coming your way on the OT just as soon as you're done. Now back to Chris Rhodes.
Back to, and who else? You must be doing the game by yourself.
No, you know what we had to cut out before he said and JC and Michelle. We just had, because of time restrictions. You understand?
That's my old partner, man. I would expect a little love or something from him. Just let's go back to
you
Chris
know how it works. You end up in the studio, and all of a sudden you're hanging out with Bradshaw and Strahan and Jimmy and Howie. They forget who we are in a hurry, JC.
They know you, and they're coming back to you like you're the only guy working here, so you just do the rest of it by yourself.
That's only because I work one studio door over there at the Fox Network Center. That's the only reason they remember me. And they don't even remember me by name. It's, hey. All right, so the hands team out there for Green Bay. That's why you see the likes of Donald Driver et al.
He's in that spot where the frontline guys are going to try to go and get a block and allow Donald Driver to go and grab the football. These guys up here in front, they're going to go block.
Jared Bush on top of it. So Seattle, barring a miracle comeback, is going to fall to 1-4 on the season for the first time since 2002. And then they got 3 of their next 4, JC, on the road. And, you know, everybody looks at the schedule at the beginning of the season. I know all the players do. You say, okay, at Tampa, that's going to be a tough one. But then you're thinking, oh, San Francisco's winnable. Miami's definitely. No.
Not this year.
No.
And that's the beauty of the National Football League. It doesn't matter what you did last year. Doesn't matter what you did last week, for that matter. You got to play every week, and teams you think you should beat might not be that way.
That is Grant off the right side. And if Seattle has done anything well, it is hold Ryan Grant in check. You know, this is a guy that ran for a Packers playoff record 201 yards and 3 touchdowns in the 42-20 drubbing of Seattle. So, you know, at least they bounced back because they got run all over the place last week in New York.
Yeah, they did. But again, they've given up 300 yards of total offense today. 200 yards passing, 100 rushing so far. And really, like Holmgren told us, we got to stop something. We got to take something away, make teams one-dimensional, and again, they've not been able to do that.
Grant again up the middle, about 4 yards shy of the first down. And Seattle has burned another timeout. So, JC, the biggest difference in this game?
Well, I think the second half has been Greg Jennings. We talked about it at halftime. Get him the ball, get him involved. They were able to do that the second half. Only had 1 catch the first half, but this is the big one. Down the field, beats Marcus Trufant for a touchdown. And he's the guy that really got him going offensively. And then from there, they kind of just got on a roll. They were able to mix in the run game as well as the short passing game. But again, 75 yards on 4 catches and that 1 touchdown has set the tone.
He had the big home run ball, and speaking of home runs, don't you forget, keep it right here on Fox. Game 3 of the National League Championship Series coming your way after the OT presented by Lowe's. Phillies and Dodgers coming your way from Chavez Ravine.
Manny Ramirez against Jamie Moyer. Be good.
3rd and 4 now. Lee in motion. They're going to keep it on the ground with Grant. He picks up the first down. And what little hope there was for Seattle has now been flushed away, you would imagine.
Because they could not stop the run and get off the football field. Even in this situation, they wanted 3rd down. They give up a run, 1st down, and now Green Bay essentially can run the clock out.
Well, that gets us down to the 2-minute warning. A depressing day in Seattle. Nick Barnett, who has some family and friends on hand, played his college ball in the Pacific Northwest at Oregon State. All smiles. 10-point lead with 2 minutes to go. 33rd carry on the day for Grant. Tied for the 2nd most single-game Packer history. Today's game has been produced by P.T. Navarro, directed by Seattle's own Rich Dewey, the associate director Wayne Wilson, the broadcast associate Bill Cullen, the technical producer Matt Benedict. Studio show produced by Scott Ackerson, directed by Bob Levy, and the associate director Stephanie Medina. Highlights coordinator is Janice Casaza. The studio technical supervisor Jack Simmons. Supervisor remote field operations is Steiny. The senior producer of Fox Sports is Bill Brown, and the executive producers of Fox Sports, Ed Gorin and David Hill.
You sure you got everybody?
I don't know. There's a few interns working the truck. I didn't catch their names on the way in. So Roger's taking a knee. We also want to thank our spotter, Tim McBergman, Mike Notaro, our stats guy. Well, the flight back to Green Bay, Wisconsin will be a pleasant one for Aaron Campman and crew, as they will snap a 3-game slide.
Not only the plane ride back, but the whole week. Next week, after a win, that makes that next week so much more pleasant to come to work.
It'll be a tough week of work for Charlie Fry and the crew. Who knows if he'll get a second start. Could depend on the health of Matt Hasselbeck and Seneca Wallace. And Aaron Rodgers, who's going to be playing in pain for quite a while, is going to chalk up his 3rd win in 6 starts. A dominant second half performance by Greg Jennings and the crew. Green Bay comes into Quest Field and takes care of business. I will be back with J.C. Pearson and Nichelle Turner to wrap this one up from Seattle, where the Packers win it by 10.